Hey everybody, thanks for joining me today. Dr. Ross Marcagiani with another great word of the week. Today's word of the week is going to be quercetin. We're going to talk about what quercetin is, and we're going to talk about how this potentially is being looked at as a prophylactic and even a preventative for the COVID virus. Let's dive in. So first and foremost, this is still being researched, and this is evidence that is being found mainly in animal studies. For the effectiveness of quercetin, but there is a lot of strong evidence showing that it could be effective as a prophylactic to COVID, which means could possibly help in the prevention of acquiring or getting COVID, or if getting it, not having a severe symptoms, and or they're looking into research currently on the use of quercetin for the prevention of COVID. So this is still being researched as we speak right now. But a lot of patients have been asking, what to use, and a lot of patients doing a really good job. People are taking their vitamin D. It's pretty well known, vitamin D, vitamin C, your zinc. These are really effective prophylactic therapies, right? Or at least seeming to be effective. But the one that continues to be missed that I noticed that patients aren't adding to their repertoire is quercetin. And I know there's a couple other docs that probably have done some videos on it, and they talk about in great detail the other effective prophylactic supplements. I'm just going to be talking about just quercetin. So please go and watch their videos. They do a great job in regards to the complete package of prophylactic support, right? Or immune support. But again, today will be just about quercetin. So let's dive in here. So quercetin, what is it? It's a powerful flavonoid, okay? So this basically means it's an antioxidant, right, from a polyphenol. Polyphenols are those really bright, vibrant colors in plants and vegetables, okay? And they're really, really powerful antioxidants that help to prevent inflammatory cascades, right? So it helps to prevent inflammation, okay? Quercetin also, in regards to stepping away from the COVID aspect here, is really helpful in stabilizing blood sugar. We're going to talk about a protein called the thyrodoxin interacting protein, or TNX-IP for short. And this protein actually, if it's upregulated, can cause issues with the pancreas, right? It basically causes the beta cells in the pancreas not to perform as effectively, and therefore affects our ability to normalize or stabilize blood sugar. So there's a connection here with quercetin that helps, it blocks this certain protein that interferes with the pancreas, and the pancreas helps to regulate glucose. So there's some supporting evidence that quercetin helps stabilize our blood sugar, and therefore, if it's helped stabilize our blood sugar, there's being connections made that it can help with metabolic syndrome. An animal study was done that on rats that had a non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and it showed to be effective in reducing their markers for non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So when we talk about the metabolic syndrome, we have high triglycerides, which is essentially fatty liver, high blood pressure, high glucose. So you can see how quercetin, if it stabilizes blood sugar and it helps in non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, at least in the animal study, you could see how that can help affect metabolic syndrome. Also, it helps to stabilize Th17 and Treg cells, or basically the side of the immune system that pushes autoimmunity or autoimmune conditions, attacking self. So there's some evidence, at least supporting that it could potentially help stabilize your immune system and balance the side of the immune system that is attacking self, right? There's been evidence that shows to help gut function. Again, that connection with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. From some of the reading, apparently this is new to me, that the liver can actually affect the gut microbiome, but it makes sense when you think about it. So since quercetin can help improve liver function, or at least it's research in animal studies leading toward that, that since there's that gut-liver connection, that the gut can actually be enhanced with taking some quercetin through the liver, indirectly through the liver. So that was pretty cool. And then there was some evidence with other, again, autoimmune conditions, Alzheimer's, atherosclerosis. So there's some really interesting information on it. Now, I don't want to advertise it, quercetin as a panacea, for everything, but it's interesting to read some of the animal studies and the evidence on this. But let's dive into how this is correlated to COVID. So COVID, as we know, this has been brought up, quercetin is brought up to be a prophylactic. And as we know, the big key word or catchphrase that everyone knows is that COVID results in a cytokine storm. So this results in a release of pro-inflammatory cytokines, right? Interleukin-1 beta and interleukin-18 are the two common ones. But what happens is we have some type of, in this case, PAMP, pathogen-associated molecular protein, from the virus that our immune system gets exposed to, and there's a cascade of events that occur that creates all of these upregulation in cytokines. Again, interleukin-1 beta and interleukin-18. But in order for this to happen, in order for the cytokine storm to occur, there needs to be a couple steps before that happen. So basically what happens here is this NLRP3 inflammasome, which is an inflammatory process, causes the release of the cytokine storm in these interleukins. But before, basically how this NLRP3 inflammasome process gets initiated is, again, the binding of this thyrodoxin interacting protein, or the TXNIP. Okay, what happens here is this TXNIP binds to the NLRP3, and it initiates this inflammasome, this cascade of inflammation, then signals to the immune system to release these cytokines. So think of it as this: the TXNIP is a key, and the NLRP3 inflammasome is the keyhole. So the key goes in the keyhole, you turn it, opens the door, and there releases the cytokine storm. Well, what quercetin has been showing, or at least the research is saying, is that the quercetin basically blocks that TXNIP from going into that keyhole. So it prevents that cascade of inflammation. Okay, so that's really, I think, really cool, and I hope it kind of connects the dots to why to take quercetin in at least prophylactically to COVID. There are studies, like I mentioned, that are currently being done right now as we speak for prophylactic and preventative measure against COVID. Those studies are doing 500 milligrams of quercetin 2 times a day. Evidence is being supported anywhere from 250 milligrams up a day to 500 milligrams twice a day. I would lean on the side of at least I myself take 250 milligrams twice a day, but looking at the potential research, there's going to probably be some strong evidence upping that to 500 milligrams twice a day. I hope this was helpful. I hope you benefited from this, and I just wanted to shed a little bit light of just on quercetin here. I appreciate your time. Please share this with anyone that you may think will benefit from this, and you have a wonderful day.